There are 4 things sitting in a lot of kitchens right now that feel completely harmless to share with a cat. And I want to walk you through exactly why each one isn't. Because the reason matters just as much as the warning itself. If you only remember don't do it, you'll forget it in a month. If you understand why, you'll actually recognize the pattern the next time something new shows up that isn't even on this list. Here's the sentence I hear more than almost any other, in almost every version of this conversation. It's just a little piece. It's not going to hurt him. I understand exactly why that feels true. That's not luck lying to you. That's a genuinely common experience. And it's exactly why this myth survives as long as it does. But nothing happened this time, and this is actually safe, are 2 very different claims. And the gap between them is where a lot of real harm quietly happens without anyone connecting the dots. Before I get into the 4 foods themselves, tell me in the comments, has your cat ever done that thing where he stares at your plate like he's entitled to it and you gave in just this once? I want to know how many of you have a cat who's mastered that look, because I suspect it's most of you. I want to say something honestly, because I think it matters more than sounding like an expert who's never made a mistake. Earlier in my career, I said some version of a small amount is probably fine more than once, about foods I now warn people about specifically, not because I didn't care, but because nobody had walked me through exactly why a cat's body handles these compounds so differently than a dog's or a human's does. Once I actually understood the mechanism, the phrase, "it's just a little," stopped sounding reassuring to me.
And started sounding like exactly the wrong question to be asking. Let's start with the first one, and it's a food most people would never think to question: onions and garlic, in any form, raw, cooked, powdered, or hiding inside something else like a broth or a seasoned dish. Here's the actual mechanism, because I think it makes this stick better than just a warning would. These foods contain compounds that damage a cat's red blood cells, specifically by causing a kind of oxidative damage that a cat's body is considerably less equipped to handle than ours is. This isn't about volume the way you might expect. It's not that a huge amount is dangerous and a small amount is fine. Cats are simply more sensitive to this specific compound than most people realize, and the damage can build up with repeated small exposures over time, not just from one large amount all at once. That's the part that surprises people the most. This isn't only a big meal risk, it's also a little bit regularly for months risk, which is exactly the kind of danger that's easy to miss because nothing seems to happen right away. The second one is grapes and raisins, and I want to be honest that this is one where the exact mechanism is still not fully understood, even in dogs, where the danger has been documented far more thoroughly. What we do know is that in a species where this has been studied, even small amounts have been linked to serious kidney damage, and the amount that causes a problem doesn't scale predictably with body size the way you'd expect. In other words, this isn't a food where he's small, so a tiny piece must be an even tinier risk, holds up. When we genuinely don't know the safe threshold and the potential consequence is kidney damage, the only responsible answer is not even a small piece, not even once, not even to see what happens. I want to pause here on the reason I think this myth survives even among careful cat parents. A lot of us learn to think about food risk the way we think about it for ourselves. A little bit of something questionable is usually fine, and it's really the big overdone version that's the actual danger. That logic makes sense for a lot of human food safety. It just doesn't transfer to a cat's body, and treating it like it does is exactly the small dog mistake this whole channel exists to correct. The third one is going to surprise some of you, because it doesn't look risky at all. Raw dough, specifically bread dough, that still contains active yeast. Here's the actual mechanism, because I think this one is genuinely fascinating once you understand it. That yeast is alive, and it keeps working once it's inside a warm body, which means it continues to rise, even after your cat has eaten it. That can cause real physical distension of the stomach, which is uncomfortable at best, and a genuine emergency at worst. But it doesn't stop there. As that yeast ferments, it produces alcohol as a byproduct directly inside your cat's digestive system, which means a small cat can end up with a meaningful dose of alcohol in his system from something that never touched an actual drink. This is exactly the kind of danger that never makes it onto anyone's mental list of things that are obviously dangerous for pets, because raw dough doesn't look like alcohol, and it doesn't look like poison. It looks like baking. The fourth one is dairy, and this is the one I think is most misunderstood, because it's wrapped in an idea that feels almost universally true. Cats and milk go together. That image is everywhere, in cartoons, in old paintings, in 100 years of casual culture, and it's simply not accurate for most adult cats. The vast majority of adult cats are lactose intolerant, meaning they've lost much of the enzyme needed to properly digest milk sugar as they grew out of kittenhood, the same way a lot of adult humans do. This isn't the same kind of danger as the first three. Dairy generally won't send your cat into an emergency, but it reliably causes real digestive distress, vomiting, diarrhea, genuine discomfort, especially with repeated exposure rather than one single lick of cream. It's a lower stakes item on this list, but it's worth including because it's the one people are most likely to offer, casually and repeatedly, precisely because it feels so harmless. Here's what I want you to take away from all four of these, more than the specific list itself. The actual question was never how much is too much. The real question is whether your cat's body can process this compound at all, and that's a completely different kind of question, one that doesn't have a safe dosage to calculate, because for some of these, there isn't one. This is exactly what the risk map inside my SEE Method ebook is built around. Instead of memorizing a new list every time something unfamiliar shows up in your kitchen, you get the actual logic behind it once, so you can figure out the next one yourself without needing to search every single new food that crosses your counter. It's not a course, it's not hours of video, it's the one reference cat parents actually keep coming back to. The link is in the first comment, pinned right below this video. I want to be clear about something before we wrap up, because I don't want anyone spiraling over something that already happened. If your cat has had a small taste of one of these before, watching this video isn't supposed to make you panic retroactively. Most cats who've had a small, occasional exposure are completely fine, and this video isn't about guilt over the past. It's about the choice in front of you, the next time your cat gives you that look at the dinner table, and you're deciding whether just this once is actually a reasonable thing to say. What I want you to walk away with isn't a memorized list you'll half remember 6 months from now. It's the understanding that safe for me and safe for a dog were never automatically safe for a cat, because his body was never built to process the world the way ours is, or the way a dog's is. That single shift in thinking will protect him more reliably than any list ever could, because it means you'll ask the right question even about something that isn't on this video at all. If this helped, you're already one of the C Squad. Officially, if you made it this far, you're exactly who this channel is for. Hit subscribe and drop a comment letting me know what your cat's up to this week. I read every single one, and I especially want to know if any of these 4 surprised you. Your cat was never a small dog, and the food on your plate was never automatically the food that's safe on his. Now you know exactly why, and that's not something you'll need a list to remember. This isn't a replacement for your vet. Think of me as the friend who tells you exactly what to ask them next time something new shows up on your counter. Take care of him. I'll see you in the next one.